Hello, my name is David Oney. I am product support for Unication USA for the P25 G4 and G5 pagers. Um, at this time, if you look over to the side of your screen, should see a tooltip that says chat. If you click on the chat, you'll be able to see the chat and be able to ask any questions that you have. And I will answer them on air, or Kelly or Ashley is also in the chat and able to answer any question you have. The purpose of this webinar is to go through the G4 and G5 programming software step by step, and really help you understand how to program a G4, G5 for a trunking system, and also for the two-tone side as well, the analog and conventional. So at this time, I will go ahead and we'll log into our T11F, our 0.3.2 beta 1 PPS, and I will share it to you there. Okay, this is our PPS. It's our pre-programming software. When you click on the icon that's on your desktop or in your start menu, you will see it will pop up a small window that asks for username and password. The username is admin and the password is admin. It's very simple. And then it brings you into this software here. And you see we have various tabs down the side, from user guide to settings to your creating profiles and editing your existing profiles in the D tab. This will actually allow you to go in and view previous profiles that you have created in the past. And with any new software release, the newest version of the PPS will import all of your old files from older versions. So in the D tab, it allows us to view and edit existing profiles. As I said before, the Echo tab, the E tab, will allow you to program from these existing profiles. So essentially what it will allow you to do is program a unit by connecting it to your computer and clicking and do the next, then it'll take you into where you can program the unit without even looking at the profile. Which looks like this. Tab F is where you go to import and export profiles that may be sent from me to you or between dealer and end user. And then at the very bottom, there is a programming log of when the device was programmed along, and it adds information from the serial number of the unit to who the operator is. But right now we're going to go into our C tab, and we're going to create a profile from scratch. So what you would do is you would select from the C tab, and you would select C1. Okay. Now, when you select C1, it will give you a drop-down menu for all of your model numbers. You may or may not be able to see this on the screen share, but there are multiple model numbers to choose from. The G2 units, then there are the G4 units. The G2 units are VHF only units that have not been released yet, of course. No, we have VHF and UHF G2s. The G4 is what we're looking for, but today I'm going to actually program a G5. So I will select the G5, which is a 700, 800, and VHF, and I will select that, and confirm that that is the model number I wish to use. Once that is done, it brings you to this screen. And it will allow you to see the model number of the unit, of course, the protocols that are available to be used in a 7800 VHF with that model number. In tab 1 here, which is our user group information, this is our user group name, which I'm going to change to G5/G4 webinar. This is used primarily as the file name that you will see when you select the Delta tab over here, View and Edit Existing Profiles. So what the user group name does is it actually gives it a reference point for you to select and find this particular file later on. And user group introduction, you can put whatever you want in there. It's just notes for yourself. Well, that's pretty much it on the first tab. The second tab is our frequency and system settings. We have our conventional frequencies and our P25 trunking system setting up here on the top, these two tabs. On this first tab, I'm going to set up a VHF channel, which is our local Fireground channel. It's our local Fire F1 channel. It's the receive from the repeater, which is 154.415. And then I'm going to label this alias Fire F1. And this alias allows you to see later in the PPS which frequency you're choosing, because you can add multiple frequencies into the conventional frequency setting, and they can get quite confusing if you're not sure which one you're picking. Our receive bandwidth is 12.5. It's narrow banded. Okay, and from conventional frequency, we'll move on to P25 trunking system setting. This is where you create your trunking systems, be it if you have multiple systems or if you want to set up knob positions that only have certain sites or certain control channels enabled. I am currently right across the Ohio River from Ohio, so I'm going to build the Ohio Marks system. I'm going to use two sites that are relatively close to me. So I'm going to name the system alias Marks. Their MAC ID is EE00. Their system ID is 348. We are not going to enable site trunking. At this time, we recommend not enabling that. That's then I'm going to move over to site list. And to change your sites and add sites and the like, you click on site where it says site 1. Let me make sure that this is showing you that. Make sure you can see this. Okay. This is the site screen. This is the screen that comes up when you go to enter a site. You can use the help here. There is a lot of good information in the help section on each of these windows that pops up from the PPS. I'm going to add two sites, so I need to hit new. So I have site 1 and site 2, and we are going to add the Greenup site, which is actually in the county which I'm currently in Kentucky, and the Bartle site, which is in Coal Grove, Ohio. Now the RFSS ID for Greenup is 3. The site ID is 2A. And all of these are entered in hexadecimal. If you can see at the top, it's in parentheses. It says hexadecimal. And if you just have the decimal, if you've only been given the decimal code, you can use either the calculator placed in programming mode from your PC, or you can use the many search engines like Google to find a hexadecimal calculator. It's pretty simple. The Bartle site, the Coal Grove site, is also RFSS ID 3, and its site ID is 32 in hexadecimal. So I've added all the sites that I want, so I will click Save, and then I will share the PPS again. Actually, I will open the control channel list and share it. And it's simply opened by clicking Control Channel 1 right below the control channel. I'll show you that here in a second. This is our control channel window. It is where you add control channels. I recommend adding 2 control channels per site, primary and an alternative. So we are going to add 4 since we added 2 sites. And we are going to add, I have my notes here. We're going to add 774, 78125. Getting the decimal points. Decimal points are required. And 774-08125. Forget the decimal point again. 08125. 771-03125. And 770.35625. These are the primary and the secondary control channels for the Bartle site in Coal Grove and the site in Greenup. Now, if I wanted to, I could go note here. I could say this is on the Greenup and make this the primary. And then secondary. You can use the notes to label your control channel frequencies as needed. I'm going to save here. And then we're going to screen share the PPS back to you again. Okay. Our PPS now, as you can see, now has 2 sites for site list and 4 control channels. I will go ahead and explain the full spectrum scan. Let me share that to you. Okay. The full spectrum scan is a feature of our unit that will allow you to scan the entire 700 and 800 band that we support. And you can find that information inside the Help tab at the top. If you scroll down, these are the bands that we support. Now, if I were to enable full spectrum scan, and I was going to use this for 700 and 800 frequencies, I would need to add 2 full spectrum scan ranges, because as you can see, when I scroll down to, which I hope you can see, yes, you can see, when I scroll down to our frequencies that we cover, we cover the 763 to 776 megahertz band and the 851 to 870 megahertz band. So you can enable full spectrum scan to scan every control channel in that range to lock on to its proper control channel. Okay. Looks like we're having some issue with some blurry video. If you have blurry video, change your resolution to 480p. It seems to be working well. And again, if you just joined us, if you click on the tools on the side and open up the chat, Kelly Hooper, it can help you with anything you might need in the chat. Looks like we've got. Okay. So if I were to set up full spectrum scan for this, what I would do is go from our 763 to our 776. So I would change our in frequency on this one to 776, not 000. And then I would change the 800 frequency to 851. To the 870. And our step size is 12.5 or 2500 hertz. You can change that down to any range you would like, whatever the step size you would like. I know some of our users, they'll change it to 2500 hertz. And when you do that, when you change your step size, it will take longer to scan through the entire band of frequencies because you are scanning more frequencies. So from here, I personally am not going to enable full spectrum scan because I know my control channels. This another reason you would use your full spectrum scan is if you did not know your control channels, you could put in a full spectrum scan and it would find the control channel. So we'll scan it. We'll share the PPS to you again. Okay. Our full spectrum scan is now set to enabled, but I'm going to disable mine, like I said. Okay. From your P25 trunking system setting, say that I wanted to, I didn't know any of this information, and I wanted to wildcard this information. This is possible because this unit does not register on the network. It doesn't require a subscriber ID. So if I wanted to, I could add a second system and add in our wildcards. And our wildcards are 5Fs. Basically entering in Fs into everything. And what this will do is it will scan any hexadecimal code down below that and try to find one that it can lock onto. And if our control channels are set to full spectrum scan, we should be able to lock on with all wildcards. However, I do recommend trying to find any information that you can about your system and entering it in. That way you're for sure going to lock on, and it will give you the best performance. Okay. This is essentially all that I can tell you about tab 2 in its entirety. We can move on to tab 3, which is our protocol lists and our protocol parameter settings. I am going to be using two-tone and P25 trunking. So I'm going to select two-tone as protocol 1 and P25 trunking as protocol 2. Now my two-tone, when selecting that, depending on your tone durations and your gaps, you can change to your different paging systems, different two-tone systems. We do support user-defined Motorola, GE, Plectron, fast Plectron, Reach, and fast Reach. My tones are Motorola. Okay, so we can move on from tab 3. That's essentially all that there is in tab 3. If you can see, we do support two-tone, five-tone, MDC 1200, DVOA, which is digital voice over analog, which is one of our protocols, P25 conventional, and P25 trunking. Okay, so we'll move on to tab 4, which is our group list. So this is where you add your two-tone pairs and your top group IDs. So I'm going to add a top group ID that was assigned to us by the MARC system. Okay, this is our top group for our XDemo1. And I can choose the alert tone, which I like, and I can also add custom alert tones by selecting custom tone setting and browsing to that MP3 or WAV file and adding it to the software. I can even show you that. You just browse to your tones, and we support MP3 or WAV files for your alert tones. So you can add any WAV file or MP3. So we'll go back, and we are going to add my two tones in our group 2. And this is Raceland P. And our two-tone pair, I'm going to add it, and I'll share it to let you see what adding that looks like. This is what it looks like to add a two-tone pair. You can choose to open up and have the tone table there, or you can just type them in. Our two-tone pair is 617.4 and 688.3. And then that's added there. So we'll share the PPS back to you now. All right, now this is our two-tone pair and our top group ID. So you don't have to save between each step. I usually do in case something happens. Okay. Tab 5 is your zone and channel settings. This is where you're going to set up your knob positions and what's going to be on them. So let's say I wanted my first position to be a selective call for my two-tone. That way when I'm at home, bed, asleep, it doesn't wake me up unless I have a call. Okay, and you can add custom voice prompts as well. If you can find a wave creator, MP3 creator, that's a text-to-speech, or you can record your own and have your voice coming out of it. We support MP3 and wave for custom voice prompts as well. All right, our conventional frequency is that Fire F1 frequency that I put in earlier. Our protocol type is going to be two-tone. We do use a digital PL tone, and that happens to be 271. Okay, and we do support inverted DPL and TPL. And the rest of these are your de-emphasis and your compander, your audio squelch. This is your reset mode. I have mine set to auto reset. I can have it set to delay and reset, revert reset, delay and revert reset, timeout reset. I'm going to set mine to delay and reset, and I'm going to set a 30-second timer. That way, if they do drop carrier, it will delay before it resets to selective call. I'm not going to enable push to listen. I am going to enable tone and vibrate on this knob position. If I wanted the pager to just vibrate only, we can set up in the alert mode inside the channel position to vibrate only. This is possible. Say if you wanted to set up a church mode, something like that, you could. So I'm going to set this one to tone and vibrate, and then I'm going to enable my two-tone pair at the bottom. Now this unit will only open squelch when it receives the tones. Now I could set up I can double click and set up a monitor for that Fire F1. So if I wanted to monitor F1, I can, and then I can select two-tone, put my 271 DPL in. I can have it set to auto reset. That's fine, and to tone and vibrate, and enable my two-tone pair. This will allow me to hear all traffic on the channel, and be alerted when my fire department receives a call. Now, moving on to the bread and butter of this unit, if you will, the trunking talk group scan. Okay. Now, if I wanted to name my channel, it's P25. You select your P25 trunking system settings. Say if I wanted the wildcarded one, I could select here. If I wanted the marks, I could select here. You cannot scan two trunking systems at the same time currently, and you cannot scan the analog and the P25 trunking at this time. You can, however, scan P25 conventional and analog two-tone. You can scan that at the same time. Okay, and it shows under here. It shows that I have two sites in this. It shows my system ID. It shows me my Wacom ID. Control channels, whether full spectrum scan is enabled. Gives me all the information on that trunking system. The alert mode, we can select tone only, vibrate only, silent, or tone and vibrate. Let's just tone and vibrate. Why not? You can enable voice buffering. And what voice buffering does, it enables the unit to alert in P25. Because essentially the way these units alert, if you're not familiar, which if you're in this webinar you should be, these units alert via talk group ID. So when traffic is seen on that particular talk group ID, the unit will alert every time. So for our paging talk group ID, we're going to use XDemo1. So to help the dispatcher out, we come up with voice buffering, so that essentially the unit will begin to record the message as soon as it's heard. Okay, it will play its audible alert tone and buffer the voice to be played after the alert tone finishes its cycle. This allows the dispatcher to pick up the PTT or use their headset, key up on that channel, on that talk group, it will and immediately begin speaking. And then the unit will play its alert tone. It will do everything else. Okay, so we're going to enable voice storage on this, and we are going to add our XDemo1 to our talk group list. Now we do support priority, so if you had multiple talk groups here in this list, and it will scan, I believe 64 at a time. It's a lot, I know that. You can enable priority to come back and, no, it's 16, sorry, 16 per channel. I don't know what I'm thinking. No, it is 64. I'm thinking of the normal scan list in analog. You can only scan 18 channels in that. Okay, the XDemo1, it's the first one you add to your list, is going to be your priority. So if you were to enable your priority, it's going to prioritize the XDemo1. So it will check back to see if it's getting any traffic to make sure that you don't miss any calls. So I'm going to disable priority on this. I'm going to save it. Okay, and then you can create as 64 zones. So you have 8 channels, 64 zones. And so that should give you enough room to do whatever you would like to do. All right, moving on to tab 6. It's our pager function list. It's pretty simple. It just enables functions that are available in the menu of the unit. So essentially, if I deselected monitor mode, now when I program this unit, it's not going to be able to, it will not have monitor mode in the menu, which is a feature that a lot of P25 systems do not want monitor mode in the unit, because what the monitor mode actually allows you to do is it will listen and pick up every single talk group that is registered on the site that you are connected to. It will pick up every single one. So here, if I turn monitor mode on here, I would be able to hear talk groups like the sheriff's departments over in Ohio and the EMS talk groups, things like that, and some encrypted talk groups. Now we do support encryption, but you have to have the encryption key software, and you have to have the encryption code to be able to put in. We do not support ADP encryption, but we do support AES encryption, the 256-bit AES encryption, the military-grade encryption. That is what we support at this time. Okay, back to the PPS. This is our pager function list. I'm going to enable monitor mode in mine, and I'm also enable diagnostics. Diagnostics is going to allow me to see my relative signal strength to the site that I'm connected to. It just allows me to diagnose what the pager is actually doing. So you have step 1 and step 2, your device function settings. This allows you to disable the Bluetooth settings so that it can't be enabled from the menu. Essentially, this enables or disables features of the unit depending on how you want to program or how you want the unit to work. So if you didn't want people to be able to change the screen timeout, for example, or the audio squelch, or the on and off duty mode, you could disable that from the PPS, and therefore disable it completely from the unit itself. Okay, moving on to tab 7, which is our pager configuration. This is a long page with a lot of different configuration settings that you can change. Your loss of signal and your hysteresis levels, essentially the out of range timer. The unit has to be out of range 20 seconds before the out of range timer goes off, before it tells you you're out of range. The in range timer, it has to be in range 5 seconds before it tells you it's in range. And you can change these. You can have them alert repeatedly if you want to at an interval. Then you have the unread message reminder, which is essentially for if you haven't read a text message that's been sent to you over the P25 system. It will beep and a little light on top will flash once when it does so. Then you have your receiving alert mode. Okay, so it's by the tone or a fixed duration for the 2-tone. I always leave it by tone. That way it selects the proper alert time. Your digital alert duration is going to be your P25 conventional or DMR alert for your call for that. Your priority alert tone, you can change that however you like. Your tone volume, this is a feature we added in the recent PPSs. It allows you to select by volume knob for your receiving alert tone volume. So when you receive a call, it's not, you can turn the volume down and it will actually change the volume of the alert. If you leave it to fixed alert, it will always alert at max volume. That way, if say you bump the knob and it turns down on accident, that way you don't hear, you don't miss the call because you can't hear it. It will always play at volume 5, whether it's on max volume or all the way down to 0. All right, in the blue fields, we have our off-duty status. I leave the default. Most of the defaults here. I leave default. Besides the receiving alert tone, it just depends who's using the unit and how they want it. This is really where you customize your pager. Okay, that's what tab 7 is all about, is customizing the unit to you or to your customer. So the default on-off duty status is defaulted to on. The auto keypad lock setting defaulted to off, and of course you have voice storage limits, which you can change to how long each recording is. We have text message settings, your voice message, voice memo, your image setting. I know it's set to receiving image quality poor. That means it will receive the image even if the image is poor. Even if it hasn't received all of the data, it will show you what it gets. Unless there is absolutely no data recoverable for the image, then it won't show you anything. Your brightness mode, you can select to be automatic brightness or manual. And this will affect battery life, how your LED brightness is, of course. Your screen timeout is also another battery life thing. You can change that. You can change it to 0 and it makes the screen always on. LED setting, it's your standby LED. Basically what it does is it blinks every 2 minutes to let you know the unit's on. That's all the standby LED is. And then your display formats. This is your system ID display format and your call ID. It will essentially, I like mine in hexadecimal, so I'm going to change mine to hexadecimal. You can change it to show hexadecimal codes or decimal codes, and you can change your date format if you're, right from defaulted. it's defaulted to the European day first, so you can change it to the American month, date, year, and then 24-hour clock or the 12-hour clock. However you like to use it. Most firefighters, they like the 24-hour military time. That's the way dispatchers dispatch time when they do dispatch. Okay, we'll move on from tab 7 general settings to tab 7 home screen. Okay, tab 7 home screen. What this section will allow you to do is fully customize your home screen. If you were to scroll down, and I'll show you on here, you scroll down, it shows your home screen details for each type of knob position or type of knob position setting you have. So whether it be trunking systems, FreeScan, which allows you to FreeScan allows you to scan a analog band range. Trunking, talk group scan, of course, your silent, normal, priority scans, just like to call in your monitor mode. These are the display items. Essentially, what the display will allow you to see. Essentially, if I did not want to know if push to listen was enabled, every time I look at my unit and scroll down with the navigation button, then I can just simply remove it. If I didn't want to know the frequency every time I looked at my unit, I could remove it. Duty status, I could remove every single thing from the home screen and essentially have it just say have it say monitor fire F1. That's all it would say, or whatever you had to put on it. Personally, I like seeing all this information. And this is where you change where it's at. So if I wanted to put my frequency at the top, put it at the top. Okay, now this is where it gets interesting. At the top, there's home screen setting. You can change it from standard to customize. When you do that, it opens up and allows you to click a Create Edit Home Screen button. This opens up a screen that allows you to customize your home screen. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to browse to a picture I have from, where are you? Let's see if I have it. This is the Marks logo, and I'm going to put all image, and this removes any titles. Now, essentially, you could put over in the corner, you could put, say, your patch from the department or a small logo, and then write out from it like say if I wanted to put the Unication logo on it and put Unication G5 Voice Pager, I could do that by adding that there. Now, when I hit preview, it's going to show me a preview of what this is going to look like on the screen of my G5 or G4. And now, like I said, we could change it to logo and title. Of course, that's going to skew everything, but essentially that's what it would do. I'm going to change mine to all image since that is a banner. And I'm going to hit save. So when my unit comes up, it will have that on there. Of course, my resolution for this photo is a little too large, so it's not going to allow me because we only support 75 by 75 when doing logo and title type, and 320 by 75 on marks or in the banner shape when it's all title or all logo. So essentially what I could do instead is just do all title, and I could do line 3 now if I wanted to change it to and then preview. That's what's going to show up on my G4 and G5. Okay, moving on. Tab 8 essentially gives you a profile detail report of everything that is in the unit. It will show you just a large report of everything that's in it, laid out in a printable form. I will recommend if you are going to print this to open every detail tab, or it will not print them. Or you can close the ones that you don't need to see what's in them. So essentially that's it for building a file. So essentially you would hit program. I'm just going to prepare. Hit program again. The small one with the little fire on it. Programming the unit. The unit will say programming on the front on the screen. It'll say program successfully if it is successful, and then the unit will reset. It'll do a hard reset and reboot. Okay, what other facets of the PPS can I show you? Reading a profile from a device. This is done in the C tab. It's C3. So if you get a unit that from our Arlington office, if you get a unit and it has a profile pre-built on it, and you want to read it so that you have that and want to change it or edit it in any way, you just go to the C3 tab, and it will read the device. Let's see, my unit has come back up. Let's let it on the Bartle site. Okay. Let's see here now. Going to come out of that. Hello, everyone. This is my G5. It has been programmed. You just watch me do it. It's locked onto the Bartle site. I have my U3 here. Let's see if it'll lock on to the Bartle site as well. As I said, these units do not register on the system, so they do not affiliate the talk group on that tower, on that site. So unlike a portable, which affiliates that talk group so that it can be received on and transmitted on, our units don't do that because they don't affiliate. So they have to be, the talk groups have to be forced to the pertinent sites. So now that's done, and you've walked through, and I've walked you through the programming of a unit. I can take any questions that you may have. Okay. Let me look through the chat and see if there's any that haven't been answered that I might be able to answer here. Actually, we'll just make this easy. I'm going to enable Q&A on the webinar, and it will allow you to ask questions using the Q&A tool on the side of your webinar. And if you don't want to use that, we'll use the chat, or you can, I'll turn my phone off, do not disturb here, and you can give me a call, and I'll answer any question you may have right here. The number is 817-210-4187. I'll type it in the chat. Now that I've talked for 30, 45 minutes, you can talk to me. Now let's look through the chat here and see if we have any questions. If no one has any questions, I can walk through one more thing. I wasn't going to do this today. Yes, anytime someone talks on the talk group that I programmed in, it will alert. No. Every time you talk on a talk group, it will alert. Let's see. Let's see. Doesn't like that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to program our XDemo 2 talk group in. Arlen, I do have a file for the Ohio Marks that has every single site and every single control channel programmed in, all the 118 sites and 356 control channels. It's separated out by zones. I can send that to you, and you can put in a Wildcard talk group ID, or you can use the monitor mode, and it'll allow you to hear whatever is being broadcast around you. Any department using P25 has a system to admin that has all the talk group IDs. That is true. They do. The best way to get, the absolute best way to get any information is to speak with the system admins of the system you're trying to be on, and we recommend doing that. because these units have to be set up a certain way for each department, the best way to do anything is to speak with system admins and help. And they should, if we've usually talked to them first, they should be able to assist you in setting up a department and being able to get them working on the system, get the units working on the system. That's first and foremost. And setting up their dispatch center to be able to alert them. Not only is this product stirred up a lot of interest in the public safety side with fire departments using P25 statewide systems and things like that, it's also stirred up a lot of talk in the scanner market because it is a small, rugged P25 scanner, essentially, that, of course, any pager is essentially a receiver scanner. It's essentially what it does. So I'm going to go and edit my webinar file, and I'm going to put in another talk group that I've got my U3 locked on right now. I should have put this one in the first place, but Delta 6. And I'm going to program my unit, and I'll let you see it alert. Okay, here. Program. Don't want to program. Need to add that to the channel. No, whenever you add a talk group, you make sure you go into the zone and channel settings and add it to the knob position. Okay, hold on one second. Preparing program. I'm programming my unit. Bruce's firmware question above. The firmware version, firmware update received .rar, which is an older version of the PPS. You did use WinWare to extract it. There may have been an issue with the download. We can get you any kind of information that you need. We can get the firmware to you. If you would like, I know we've still got 10 people in here. If you would like, I can walk you through an upgrade procedure. It takes about 5 minutes. We can do that if you all would like. Type it in the chat if that's what you want to do. We can do it. Kelly has just informed me that as an authorized dealer, you may purchase up to 5 G4s and 5 G5s at a reduced price for demo purposes. And she will send information after the call. Thank you very much. That was our lovely Kelly that you all probably are familiar with. Okay, Bruce, we'll work on this after the webinar and see if we can't get you rolling. But I can let me show the unit in operation. On 32, this one I think is on. This is the issue when you don't have your talk groups forced. Well, we'll just force it to that sites. Essentially what's happening now is, since these talk groups are not forced, my U3 here, which is our P25 radio, is locked onto the Greenup site, and my pager is locked onto the Bartle site. So what I'm going to have to do, since these talk groups are not forced to these sites, which, like I said, I recommend that you do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the Bartle site from the programming, and then essentially forced the G4 or the G5 to that site. And you can do that by creating a different trunking system that has only those particular sites. Like I said, if you wanted to create multiple trunking systems, one that has, say, if one has the Greenup site, one had the Bartle site, and there's another one that has both of them, you could do that. Okay, program successfully. Force the G5. Arlen, if let's see, are you still in here? Yes, Arlen, if you would just send me an email at david@unication.com, and I will send you that file, that Ohio Marks file. That's the file that I actually built for the Mark system admins.
Trunking talk group normal scan.
Okay. All of these computers around. Here we go. All right. Here's the unit. I'm going to key up over here. Try not to blow out. Yeah. Test 1, 2. That is essentially what the unit does when it alerts. Anytime that there's traffic on the talk group, it will alert. Other than that, do we have any more questions? If not, I'm going to go ahead and end the webinar now, and you can enjoy the replay of it anytime on YouTube at our Unication USA YouTube. You can give me a call at 817-210-4187. 817-210-4187, or you can send me an email at david@unication.com. I'm going to stop the broadcast now. You all have a great day, and like I said, if you have any questions, just give me a call. Thank you very much.